It's been a big year for you, have the band, and you're also going to finally release this live, actually it's a documentary, correct?
Yes,
yeah, it's
finally.
a documentary. It's about the police and your life.
Yeah.
What can we expect on this?
Well, personally, I mean, I think I know all the stuff that's out there. I think this is the best film on the police yet. It's quite intimate, and obviously from my point of view, it was based on my book, One Train Later, that actually came out in 2006. It's a very inside documentary about the police. From my point of view, I do the voiceover and a lot of my photography and based on the book, but it's got very exciting stuff about the police because they filmed us on the road during that 2008, 2007 and 8 tour. There's a lot of backstage stuff, and then what the guy did was so clever was he would show us playing his song, because of course we were playing all the hits at that period, and then go back to the early days. So he'll cut right from the middle of something like So Lonely into, and then 20 years later. It's pretty cool. It's very beautifully edited. It's very good.
What do we learn about you guys as a band?
You find out about the difficulties of marriage, I think.
Marriage among the band members, you mean?
Yeah, how you make it work, how, when you're doing something like that, no matter what personal friction there is, the reaction from the people every night is amazing, and that's what keeps you going. Like whatever little squabbles we have, look at that. It's fantastic. We have to keep doing it.
So that was one of the highest grossing tours of all time.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible, and people still come out to see your music. But it's unbelievable because it doesn't seem like you guys got along even at that time.
Well, no, yeah. I mean, we've always been labelled that from the media, and there's a certain amount of truth to that. It wasn't a marriage made in heaven, that's for sure. But then, I always say, well, look, you look at almost all the immortal rock bands, whether it's Pink Floyd, Stones, The Who, The Police, whatever. There's always this friction, and it's a sort of a necessary friction because it seems to give a creative spark that okay, if you've got like 3 or 4 really mellow guys who all really get along, what are you going to get out of that? You need a certain amount of ego and pushiness, and it makes the rock music better. It's really true.
Yeah, well, speaking of rock music, looking back on that time, what were some of the best songs that you were playing at that time?
Well, I mean, obviously the thing is, we were an amazingly successful band. We had so many hits, but the truth is, of course, there's not really a downside to it. It's all great. God, we got these hits. They're all great. Ugh, aren't we lucky? But the only downside is you are kind of stuck playing those songs. And when we went out in 2007 and 8, for those very expensive tickets, as most tickets are in the modern world, we had to play the hits. We couldn't go, well, we've got a really interesting thing, it's like Spinal Tap, we'd like to do our Jazz Odyssey. We weren't doing that. We were doing all the hits. But I have to say, because people ask me about it, don't you get bored playing? I said, no, I never got bored with it, because really, if you are a good musician, if you're creative, I would find really different things to play, those ways to play the songs every night.
Do you ever see yourself doing something like that again?
You mean with the Police? Well, we never say never. We never really close the door. I don't see it happening, but then I didn't see the last one happening. And I'm not sitting waiting for the phone to ring. I'm all about Circa Zero at the moment. We'll see,
And you're also about photography. You walked in, you had a camera around your neck, and you've been long involved in photography. Yeah. What keeps you interested in that?
I think it's, in a way, it's the same thrill as music, because for me, the way I do photography, it is very improvisational. I mean, there's 2 aspects to it. Actually, it's interesting, I never made this parallel before, but it's like the live playing, there you are, you're in the moment, or you're in the studio. So the live stuff is, I'm out there and I'm looking for stuff that I think is interesting. Then later, after I've done all the shooting, you edit, and you go through, and that's sort of the equivalent of like, mixing in the studio, putting the songs in sequence, and you're making a statement by what you pull out of from what you've shot. In the old days, it would have been contact sheets. Now we're talking about digital files, and you make the statement that you want to make by the way you edit, what you choose to show. Careers are made by what you leave out, not what you put in. It's very important.
Thank you so much for coming in today, Andy.
It's great. Thank you very much.